My name is Tiffany and I'm the diary maker behind Latah Valley Fiber Co. Today is August 24th and I'm so glad you're joining me today. I'm coming at you from Eastern Washington where it's a sunny, warm day here. We've been dealing with a lot of fires in the area, so it's been smoky up until this point, but we have fresh air today and the fires are on their way to being contained. So you can find me on Instagram at Latah Valley Fiber Co. I have a hand-dyed yarn shop that's on Etsy. It's latahvalleyfiberco.etsy.com if you want to check that out. And if you want to direct message me, you can do that, lvfiberco@gmail.com. So I have been doing a little bit of knitting. Most of it is work knitting, although I have been working on my Potomac Worsted cardigan. So I'll show you that as well. But first, I want to show you a finished object, and I do have one. I actually have two, but I gave one of them to the customer. So I'll post some pictures here. This is the summer market bag. It's a crochet pattern. It's by Stitchberry Blog. I knit this out of Barocco Modern DK. So you can check out that. I bought it at my local yarn shop, Paradise Fiber. Okay, the next item, which I do have to show you, is this lovely hat. This is also knit for a customer. The yarn I'm using is Malabrigo Chunky Bulky in the natural colorway. The customer wanted a white or natural white hat. So this is 104 yards. It's merino wool, 100%. And it called for a US 10 or 11. I did a US 9, which is 5.5 millimeters, because I like the denseness of the fabric. So this pattern, I just found it on Pinterest, and it is the I'll throw a picture in here too as well. Uh-oh, I didn't save it. Why didn't I save it? That's weird. Oh no, I did. It's the Bristlecone Hat textured beanie. It's a free knitting pattern by Amber Plazer Kokorin. I'll put all the info here. It's fancytigercrafts.com and it's a free pattern. Again, I found it on Pinterest. It's under the woolpatterns.com. So I found it to be a very easy knit because basically you're just you're slipping a stitch and then you're carrying it up 2 rows, I think. So, but it has a great texture and it's a lot of fun. So I hope the customer enjoys the hat. I think it'll be very cozy. She wanted a beanie style, not a whole lot of slouch. So that was my goal with this. And part of the reason why I went down a 1 needle size too was just to get a more dense fabric, keep her warm on those cold winter days. Okay, so as soon as I cast that off, I cast on another hat because my son wanted a new hat for this winter and he grows like crazy. So his previous winter hat doesn't fit anymore. And it's a shame because I spun the yarn and then I knit him a hat. So this one is also done out of Malabrigo. Oh no, it's different. This is the Chunky Bulky. This is the Naventa, which is a super bulky actually yarn. And this colorway is Continental. Here it is. So with this one, I'm just doing a stockinette stitch, and I am actually using the same needle size, the 5.5 millimeter needle size. So it is creating this super dense fabric, which is great for winter. So I cast on 60 stitches, and I knit a 2.5 inch rib, or 3, I can't quite remember. And then I just began knitting. So this is 8 inches. I'm ready to decrease now. And he picked this colorway because it reminded him most of Sonic the Hedgehog, which he's a huge fan of at the moment. So it's very cozy. I like this yarn because it's soft. And this one is superwash merino wool. So this one I would hand wash because it's 100% merino wool. This one has superwash, so you can throw it in the washing machine and then just plop it on your dryer to dry. So I'm almost done with this one. I'll be done with it today, I'm sure. And because I'm ready to start the decreasing for the crown. I have this much left, which is plenty. So I'm into hats, I guess. Again, well, it's slightly cooler this week. The previous week was in the hundreds here. So it's cooler. It's been in the 60s. So I think I'm ready for fall knitting. Another customer order that I'm doing is a pair of socks. The first of 2 for this particular customer. And I am knitting them in my own Latah Valley Fiber Co. hand-dyed yarn in the buckskin colorway. This is recycled nylon, 25%, and then 75% fine superwash merino wool. So it's very soft. Again, it's in the buckskin colorway. And I am knitting from the center and from the outside, and I'm doing 2 at a time on circular needles. Let's get them a little closer. And these are just a simple stockinette in the round socks. He didn't want anything too fancy. He's going to use them for hunting and in his boots. So the only thing that he requested was that it was a more neutral color, which I thought buckskin worked great for that. And then he wants it, the leg of the sock, very tall so that it fits over the top. It'll fit in his hunting boots and stick out over the top. So I am going to use all of this yarn. It's 437 yards. I am going to use it all, or almost all, in order to do that. So I have finished, as you can see, I've finished the foot. I'm doing the toe and heel and the cuff all in the buckskin colorway because he wanted something that was neutral. So I thought, well, just having your sock all the same would be just fine, I'm sure. So he was a size 10 shoe, so I used my handy tool to okay, so I have this handy tool, and he's a size 10, which is all the way at the top. So I just, before I started the heel, I just stuck this in here, and so the heel is 2 inches subtracted from the length of your foot. So I went to 8 inches here before I started the heel. And this was actually very helpful because with socks you want a little bit of negative ease, which means it kind of stretches over your foot and isn't sloppy, which I I've struggled with in the past because it's just hard to go, oh, okay, that's negative ease. Whereas this tool really helped. I just lined up both socks on this and found it very easy to just go, oh, okay, I've stretched it, I've given it a little bit of negative ease. It has about 1/2 inch of negative ease, which we'll see if he's happy with that. So I am doing these 2 at a time. It's a little fiddly because I'm doing it out of 1 ball of yarn. I feel like it would be faster, and I know that it's faster if I had divided this into 2 50-gram minis. But I didn't, so I'm working with that. I am about 2 inches or so onto the leg, and I don't know how far. I imagine it will be, so if I bend one of these over, I normally knit before I start the cuff to the toe, but I have a feeling that with this I will be going a lot farther past the toe in order to get tall enough socks. So that's where I'm at with these. Again, this is just my standard vanilla socks knit. I use a shadow wrapped heel, and then I'll do a 2x2 rib for the cuff. So I will probably have these done hopefully soon. He's waiting for them. Hunting season starts the end of this month, I guess. So I'm a little behind, but I have a lot of work knitting to do and my own knitting, and I've also been dyeing yarn. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that process as well. Okay, my next and last project that I'm working on is the Potomac Worsted cardigan by Knitting McPurley, and I am on the sleeves. Yay! So Tuesday night I went to knit night, and I needed to cast off or bind off the ribbing at the bottom of the cardigan. So I spent time doing that, and it called for a 3.5 inch ribbing, which I felt was too long. So this is only 3 inches. Plus this is superwash, my own hand dyed Latah Valley Fiber Co. Superwash worsted. So it is going to stretch a little bit, and I didn't want it to be, the ribbing to be too long. I feel like 3 inches is fine. So that's where I personally stopped. I didn't do the 3.5 inches that she called for in the pattern. So this is the right side of the garment. So you have the stockinette stitch on the outside. And then the sleeves are knit reverse stockinette, which means the pearl bump will be on the outside. So she wanted you to cast on your sleeve and then turn it inside out. Well, I wanted to do my sleeves 2 at a time. So I struggled with flipping it inside out after I cast on. So I was at my knit night Tuesday, and I cast on and pulled out one sleeve 4 times because I couldn't get my cords right. And anyway, I am going to put in a little tutorial on. So I came home, and the next morning I just cast on inside out. I turned the garment inside out. One sleeve I just left cast on, and then I lined it up and cast on for my second sleeve. And that's way better. There's no twisting, there's no huge mess. And I kept it was so frustrating at knit night. I couldn't figure out. Plus I had it in my lap, and at home I just laid it out on the table. So I'll go ahead and put that little tutorial in here, and I hope you enjoy learning how to cast on sleeves 2 at a time. I thought I would take you all along with me. I went to knit night yesterday evening, and I was trying to cast on my sleeves 2 at a time, and I struggled. I was putting it on backwards, and really, so I had to pull it out 3 different times, and I thought, I'm going to just hold off until I can lay it on a table and get it. So the thing with it is you turn it inside out, so that you're knitting instead of purling. And I just couldn't quite figure out what I was doing wrong and how I was doing it wrong. So, this is what I have. Okay, so I need to pick up, this is a knit stitch, but it actually, it's easier to knit, but this is actually the wrong side. This is the right side, which is a purl stitch. So I have to turn it inside out and then pick up this arm here. And somehow I was getting it all crooked. I don't quite know how. So what I'm going to do, instead of, I was feeding it and just going all the way through, but I think I need to come at it from here with 2 needles, 1 on either side. Because I tried just feeding it in here with 1 needle and going around, and that just, it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is like this, come on either side of the sleeve. Is that going to work? Is that going to work? I don't know that that's going to work either. Because then you would knit up this side and then come over here and knit this. I'm going to try it. I tried it the other way and it would not work very well. So I normally do sleeves 2 at a time, but I don't ever recall having this much of a problem. But here we are. So this is just holding my stitches on here. I am going to go like this. So let's hold that so it doesn't fall out. And I'm just going to pick up-ish in the middle, I think. Oop. And hopefully this works. I could just watch a video. Wouldn't that save so much time? Probably. How do you pick up? How do you lay out your... So actually, the pattern had you pick up on the correct side, but then turn it inside out to knit it. And I found the cord just got tangled, and the pattern actually has you knit this on DPNs. one sleeve at a time, and I'm just not into that. I like to do things two at a time so that when I am done, like with socks, when I'm done, I'm done. So these are live stitches that I put on waste yarn. Okay, so I'm gonna pull that out now. Oh, I went through it. Okay, well, just trim it. Okay, now I'm going to pick up over on this side, and this should be about half. If it's not, it's close enough. I don't really. So this is the fourth time I've cast this on, or I've picked up these stitches. So during knit night, I bound off the bottom of my cardigan, and I think it looks nice. It's a nice clean edge. So I just have the sleeves to do, and then the collar. So that'll be fun. We're getting there. Hopefully by September, maybe the second week of September, I will have this ready to wear for when the cooler weather starts coming in. I'm really excited. It feels, as I'm knitting it, I just love this yarn. It's so soft and warm. I've had it in my lap while camping, and I'm just like, oh. So we have lots of fires here in Eastern Washington, the Spokane area specifically, and we weren't able to have a fire for camping, which is, it's okay. That's fine. Better to be safe. But this warmed my lap as I was knitting it, so it was great. So now I need to come along here and pick up 16 stitches in the underarm, and yeah, so let me grab some yarn to do that. Okay, this looks like it should work fine. Better, anyway. So I'm gonna pull this through and kind of tighten it up, make for easier picking up. I'm gonna attach this little ball of yarn I had left over from the body. And so I did this one. I picked up this one multiple times, and it had this funny bump here. So I pulled it out and just picked up this whirly stitch across the top, and I'm hoping that that's not as visible. So like here, instead of, I was picking up this one as well, but then as I picked up, this was just a big bump on the right side of the fabric, so I didn't like that look. So I am going to pick up just the one. I like that look a little bit better. And I need 16, so I'm just gonna go through. And I am gonna leave a little bit of a long tail to maybe just, if there's a gap here in the very edge, I want to be able to cinch it up. So I am going to leave a little bit of a longer tail, and yeah. Two, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, And it is pretty gappy here, so when I knit across, oh yeah, this is perfect. So I'll knit here the first half, then I'll do the first half, actually the whole other sleeve, before coming around this round. So let's see if that works. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't know why I couldn't get it, except that it was balled up on my lap at knit night, and it was just, and then I had to turn it inside out, so that was just problematic. I should have done what I knew to do, which was just flip it inside out to start with and cast on, or pick up, because I had the sleeves on, the live stitches on hold on waste yarn. So all I had to do was pick them up and then cast on 16 stitches at the underarm. Okay, that seemed to work. Now I'm going to come over here, and here's my yarn. It's in the right spot. Okay. So the thing about 2 at a time is you've got to remember to pick up the the right lead yarn. So this goes to this sleeve. And you all know, if you've been following me for a while, that I knit 2 at a time socks on circular needles. That's my favorite way to do it. And so you're always managing 2 balls of yarn, or 1 ball where you're pulling out of the middle and the outside, which is what I'm currently doing on a sock. Okay. Well, it is twisted. Maybe I can fix that on the other side. So then you rotate. And once you get going, it's not too complicated. You're just going around and around and around. But the setup row is crucial. Very okay, so like that. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now, this is my original cast on. I didn't leave much of a tail, which is a bummer. I was a little flustered, truthfully. And this looks backwards, so I'm going to knit through the back loop because it's a twist. It looks twisted. I am going to snug it up. I'm not going to tie it off until I'm done. So I'm just going to snug as I go along. These are the underarm stitches. And this is the other corner, so I'm going to snug that pretty tight, as tight as I can get it. Okay, so that's one sleeve. We're gonna come back and I'm gonna untwist it. There we go. So now we're back to this ball. Put this one over here somewhere. Back to this ball and this sleeve. And I think I finally have it. So I'm where I should be. So I think that worked finally. I probably should have, if I was gonna knit this. Oh, but I still had it on. I had to cast off the body. So anyway, there we go. Yeah, that worked. It's not twisted anymore. It's all perfect. So I will be knitting on sleeves for a while. Okay, so see how gappy that is? So I'm gonna grab the end and snug it up as oh, it's still a huge gap. So I'm glad I left see, you can see that big gape right there. I'm glad I left this. I will use the tail to weave in and fill in that hole. So another way that you can fill in that hole is just to pick up another couple of stitches there, which in hindsight I probably would have done because I like a little bit more ease in my arms initially. But I'm going to make it work this time because I don't want to pull it out again. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there you have it. And then there's just a lot of rotating. But once you get going, it is pretty slick. So I highly recommend doing sleeves 2 at a time. If you want to give it a try, I encourage you to do so. And we're back around. This was where we started. So what I will look at briefly before I sign off here is that it looks okay from the right side. So currently we are knitting inside out so that we can knit and not purl, because for most people knitting is faster, including myself. Okay, so we're done with that. I'm gonna flip it. Yeah. So several rounds of the this is the underarm. And then, yeah, it all looks nice and smooth there. So I'm good to go, guys. Good to go. Thanks for joining me on this little cast on. All right, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. So I pretty much cast on and then I haven't knit on it. I finished that hat and I started another hat and I've been working on the socks. So I haven't knit on this at all. I am down to, this is for one sleeve and this is for the other. And then I have wound, this is the 5th skein of my worsted yarn. And I do have a 6th. So after the sleeves, you pick up, So this is around the back of the neck. You pick up stitches here and you go all the way down to the bottom of the cardigan, and you pick up all those stitches, and then you do a collar. So I may need to dip into that 6th skein of yarn, which I'm okay with. I just didn't skein it up because I thought, well, maybe this would be enough. But I'm down to this for one sleeve and this for the other sleeve. This is definitely not going to be enough. This might make it. It might make it. Anyway, we'll see when I get there. All right, so that's where I'm at with my Potomac Worsted cardigan. And again, that pattern is by Knitty McPurley of, she's here on YouTube. So you can find her there. I think she's also knittingmcpurley.com is her website, and she also hand dyes yarn. So if you want to check her out, you can do that too. All right, that's all I have for you guys this week. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful tail end to summer. We have 2 more weeks before we start school here, and we're kind of ready for you know, the normal schedule of school year. But summer's been really wonderful this year, and we're sad to see it go. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your August, and I'll see you the first part of September. Have a great day.